Hey, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh by Yashim, Yahweh Shai by Yashim, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. And peace and salutation unto the hopeful elect, the 1/3 of Yasha Allah, upholding the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of their ability. Peace and salutation. This is the brother Bakwasha. And I just want to cover some recent videos. And really, it's been known specifically for Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, that our women are not with us. And that's from the top down, meaning that's from the Southern Kingdom and Northern Kingdom. Now, this video here is going to go into how some of the Northern Kingdom, have been raised to be wives, but definitely Southern Kingdom has been limited in that scenario. And all of this stems from the earth being given into the hand of the wicked. Also, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans being disobedient to the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Shemi Shai, and curses befalling us because of that disobedience. And so I'm gonna start here in the book of Genesis real quick, and then we'll get some scriptures, and Lord will, it'll be edifying for the elect. This is Genesis chapter 3 and verse 15. It says, "And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel." And so I'm gonna grab this word here, enmity.
Strong's H342. Ava. Ava.
And it says enmity, it says hatred. Okay. And so why are so-called Negro or N-dubs not raised to be wives, but some Northern Kingdom are? And there's still a enmity between the woman, in the seed of the Israelite man. But I would say that the development in the culture, of how the Northern Kingdom has been raised versus how the Southern Kingdom has been raised is completely different. And so we're just going to play a couple of these videos, bring out some precepts, and I also have a chat GPT that I want to go into as well, showing the past 100 years of what that looks like to be raised in a single family versus being raised in a two-parent family. And ultimately, and let me bring this out real quick as well. This is Micah chapter 2 and verse 10. It says, "Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest." So ultimately, this is not the eternal kingdom of salvation. This is the captivity in which we've been in, because of our disobedience. So ultimately, family life in itself is not the focal point. Being delivered from this captivity, to where we can be renewed, and reunited with our power, Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, and then the earth being brought back to a state of harmony is the ultimate objective. So just wanted to point that out. We're not looking for any solutions here in Babylon, aka America, but I just wanted to touch on that because families are important, but in a righteous kingdom, under a righteous rule, of righteousness of Yahweh Shemi Shai. And so the rest of this verse says, "Because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with the sword of destruction." So let's get into a couple of these videos and we'll wrap up.
Why isn't a black woman raised that way? Most black women are raised to be independent. Remember, let's be real. Most black women are raised to be strong, tough, independent, and don't take no shit. If daddy wasn't shit, I'll raise you along by myself, be a strong black woman. So they come into the game with their guard up ready. Like, I ain't beat for your shit, nigga. I know what's going on. Now, a Spanish girl is raised to serve. They be cooking for their father at a young age, washing the dishes, washing the table, mopping on Saturday morning. Let's face it, they're raised to serve. If one time I swear to God, I'm at a girl's house having dinner. I got out with my own plate, put it in the garbage, put it in the sink. Her mom spaz on it. Spanish about da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Now, in the black woman's house, if I get up my own plate, she gonna say, "That's a damn good nigga. He got his own shit. I like him, Shirley. He got his own shit." But Maria better get up and get that plate and get it washed and show him you are a wife. They raise their woman to be catering. Am I wrong or no? I'm going about the
we got to close it up with Lola. Go ahead, Lola.
And so the point being here is, and like I said, this is not to distinguish between Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom, because we had just read the verse, how there was enmity put between the woman and us. Okay. And point being here is, none of our women have been raised to be helpmeets. This is Genesis chapter 2, verse 18. And the Lord Yahweh said, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make him a helpmeet for him. Okay. And in this society, that's specifically what's happening. Okay. Women are being raised to be independent. Okay. They're not raised to be a helpmeet. Now, even, some Northern Kingdoms, women, right, they may help out or whatever. And it may be something that they do because they've been taught that. But is it like it's going to be in the kingdom? Absolutely not. Okay. It says succor. All right. Let's grab this real quick.
Succor.
Okay. Let's grab the etymology here. It says to help, to run to the rescue, to run to the help of. Okay. And so once again, like, where do you find a wife? You can't find a wife in Babylon when Israelite women specifically have been nurtured, okay, to become independent and separate from their man. But that's not how the Holy Scriptures describe it. It says, and the Lord Yahweh, Genesis 2:18, and the Lord Yahweh said, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make him a helpmeet for him. So this is a servant, okay, because the word woman in itself means female servant. Okay. But to who? Her man. Okay. But if women are growing up in single family households, okay, because the divorce rates are out the roof, right, which is against the scriptures as well, because a man is supposed to give a woman a bill of divorce. A woman has never had power to make those decisions. Okay, so now the continuation of single families has been perpetuated. So now women think that they can do it on their own. That's what a part of the reason why they continue to be the enemy of the Israelite man, whether it be Northern or Southern Kingdom. Okay. Let's get into the next video.
And I know a lot of women don't want to accept that because they just want to put the onus on the men and say, oh, the men are problems. These men don't know how to be husbands. And I think that's true to a degree. There are some men who don't know how to be husbands. Know why? Because they were also raised by these single mothers. So they were not taught, how to be a man. A lot of them, they weren't taught how to be a husband. It was not a narrative in the single mother-led household to preach marriage and inclusivity and cooperation. It wasn't in.
And I'll add this as well. According to the scriptures, a man can have multiple wives. That's never going to be taught here in Babylon.
The dialogue of a single mother to teach her daughters and her sons how to be husbands and wives, because it just was not the thing, because she was a single mother herself. So instead, she taught you how to be an independent boss. You don't depend on a man. Do it for yourself. And the young men didn't have a father there to teach them what the role of a man is supposed to do and are supposed to be, and how he should prepare himself for a wife and a family. So we got to acknowledge where this stems from, and we got to start making changes in order to get those outcomes, if that's what you want. And so I think the problem is, in other cultures, in other races of people, they were raised to be wives and husbands. They were told.
Exactly. So for most of the other heathen nations, they were taught roles specifically. That's why you'll see, for the most part, Moab, Elam, right? Even some Ham, right? Their women are raised to be modest. And that's in the scriptures. Okay. This is Titus chapter 2, verse 2. It says that the aged men be sober, grave, temperate, sound in faith, in charity, and in patience. And so younger men were being raised by aged men, okay, on the virtues of leading the household, okay, to be a steward, okay, to be the economic and the spiritual, okay, guide, which is under Yahweh Shemi Shai. Verse 3. The aged women likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given to too much wine, teachers of good things, that they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children. None of that is promoted here in Babylon, aka America. Even with the advent of social media and media in itself, now it confuses women more because their friends, co-workers, okay, and women in themselves are supposed to be at home anyway. Okay, women are not supposed to be working except being at home. But point being here is social media co-workers now influence them to be like-minded as a single woman. But what does the scripture say? It says the aged women likewise, and that's another dynamic that destroyed the Israelite family, which is you had elders, men and women, okay, to do what? To continue to cultivate the development of our nation. There were arranged marriages, okay? None of those things since the falling away, okay, of our people, okay, has been in any type of uniformity, and it's not going to be, okay? Titus 2:3, the aged women likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given to too much wine, teachers of good things, that they may teach young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children, to be discreet. Going back to how most of the heathen nations are more discreet. You know, you'll see heathen nations, women, they'll ride in the back seat. They don't even ride in the front seat with the man as they drive, because it gives the woman the false appearance that they're on the same level. The women always walk behind the men, and usually it's a couple paces behind the man. Okay, it says to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, and that was the point. Keepers at home. Okay, not going to work, not wanting to be independent, not being taught to be independent, but that's what social media has done. Good, obedient to their own husbands. And I'll even add another point in here as well, which is women in themselves are no longer virgins. They're no longer chaste. And so when you've had 15 to 30 to 50 different rods confusing your mind frame, you can't be to your own husband. That the word of Yahweh be not blasphemed. Okay? And that's what's happening now. So yeah, you'll see these other heathen nations looking as though they have a better structure, family structure, but all of this is a part of the curses as well, to once again show that this is not our rest.
Oh, you need to be married. You need to have, a family. That is important. But it wasn't of importance in the black community for the most part. And so now we have a group of individuals who are just kind of glossing over that and not trying to focus on the core of the problems, but they're just trying to, continue to move in life without acknowledging where this stems from and why relationships and why it's difficult for men to commit to these types of women with this mentality, and why women are missing the mark when it comes to building strong relationships with men and creating stable households. So we got to acknowledge the root of the problem. You can't just gloss over that and want a solution without acknowledging the root and trying to figure how all men are horrible. They're all up to something. Why men are the problem. Why men. This is what they've seen growing up, and this is what they think this generation of men should do as well. And these men are not falling for it. So I think once again, before we start just pushing the blame onto everybody else, you got to go to the root of the problem. You got to look at where this stems from and look.
All right, that's enough for her. Let's move on to the next video, and then we're gonna bring out some Chat GPT stuff. So I'm not gonna play this video. I'm just gonna read it. This is a list of top 10 reasons why B-dubs, okay, N-dubs have the lowest marriage rates. Number 1, nasty attitudes and disposition. Okay, there's always something wrong. Uncooperative and opposed to leadership. And once again, women get dressed up, dolled up, and go listen to Esau, because once again, that enmity. Let me go back here. That enmity, okay, came from what? The serpent, man. Okay, for what? Disobedience. Okay, and how was Eve beguiled, as the scriptures say, right? Scripture says, because the woman was in transgression, not the man. Okay. This is 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 14. It says, and Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression. Okay, so that brought about all of this confusion to where now she'll do whatever is necessary to keep her job, but she won't do whatever is necessary to keep her man. And scriptures even go into how the head of the woman is the man. Okay, this is 1 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 3. It says, but I would have you know that the head of every man is Hamashiach, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Hamashiach is Yahweh. So when we talk about structure and when we talk about order, that is the heavenly order that Yahweh Shem Yahushua created. Okay, but while in this captivity, it's nothing but confusion, which makes a woman think that she has the power to be over the man, which is another curse in itself. Okay, scripture says that a woman shall compass a man. Okay, real quick. This is Jeremiah 31 and verse 22. How long wilt thou go about, O backsliding daughter? Because the backsliding is going against the Holy Scriptures, man. Okay, creating new paths of liberty, women's lib, and feminism, and all of these snares that Esau has created, man. How long wilt thou go about, O backsliding daughter? For the Lord hath created a new thing in the earth, a woman shall compass a man. Well, we just read that the head of the woman is the man. Okay, so that structure has been destroyed. All right, which is another reason why this is not our rest. All right, so B-dubs or N-dubs are masculine and lack femininity. Okay, don't value their virtue. Scripture says even the sea monsters draw out the breast. Let's read Lamentation 4 and 2. The precious sons of Zion, okay, comparable to fine gold, how are they esteemed as earthen pitchers, the work of the hands of the potter, right? So, yeah, men likewise, you know, once received as or deemed as gold, okay, but now have lost the luster and the glory, okay, of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. 2/3 of our men, shall I say, okay. And this is the point, verse 3. Even the sea monsters draw out the breast; they give suck to their young ones. The daughter of my people is become cruel, like the ostriches in the wilderness. Okay, so that cruelty goes into lacking femininity. Okay, don't value their virtue, doesn't prioritize fitness. Okay, disregards global, whatever, egotistical, rejects criticism, not loyal. Okay, doesn't tend to a man's ego. A female servant is a woman. Okay, and once again, that's why men in ancient times had many wives and concubines, because what it does is it keeps women in check. Okay, now you have to fight for the man's attention, because he is the image that Yahweh Shem Yahushua created. Okay, and Yahweh Shem Yahushua gave man plenty of women. Women outnumber men 10-1. Okay, that's not an accident. Okay. Number 10, has no grounded sense of healthy submissiveness. So why is all of that the case? Once again, the curses, the earth being given into the hand of the wicked, but then likewise, Esau has destroyed the family intentionally. So let's get into some chat GPT stuff real quick. So I did some searching and just wanted to kind of bring out some stuff, and some of it may apply, but eat the meat, leave the bones. It's not too many bones, but I just wanted to kind of give a scenario because I wanted to give some projections. It says key generational effects linked to divorce and single parent upbringing. Okay, because majority of our people come from divorced homes and single parent upbringing. Okay, specifically a Southern Kingdom. Okay, children who grow up in families that experience divorce or single parent living, especially at early ages, are on average more likely to experience economic hardship. Single parent families tend to have higher poverty rates than two parent families. Reduced long-term income growth into adulthood. It's like, because all of these scenarios are affecting finances, okay? Because the relationship that we haven't had are relationships that we're now learning about. And now we're being oppressed by our enemies on top of that. And they hate us, okay? Our women hate us. Point 2 says lower education and mobility. Lower likelihood of living away from home while in college. Children of single parents have lower overall academic and social mobility patterns. Higher risk of teen pregnancy and weaker adult economic outcomes. Teen birth risk increases substantially in children whose parents divorced when they were young, because there's no really oversight. There's no education. You know, both parents are going to different directions. You know, whatever the children are, they're left to make their own decisions. And then now children nowadays, they go to social media. And now social media is confusing them more and more, to where now they don't even believe in either one of their parents. It says increased risk of involvement with the justice system, which there is no justice system, okay? It's really just who has the most proof, okay? That's not justice. It says data shows higher incarceration rates among adults whose parents divorced in childhood. Those sea monsters, okay? Because that's essentially what the so-called Negro woman creates, okay? Monsters, all right? Whether it be male or female. Neighborhood instability challenges. Divorce often leads to moves to lower income neighborhoods and less parental time per child. Okay, so like I said, these are the effects of years and years and years of these patterns and sequences perpetually repeating themselves. Okay, so this is the last thing I want to show here, and then we can wrap up. I got one more video. It says historical timeline of trend in U.S. family structure, children in single parent houses. And I thought that this was noteworthy because it shows pre-1950, children that were born into single parent households was less than 2%. Okay. Most children live with both married parents. Okay. From 1950 to 1980, a sharp rise. No fault divorce laws in many states increased divorce prevalence. What does that mean? That means that now women had the ability to divorce a man for any reason, because women lead the statistics on divorces anyway. Why? Because they're not raised to be wives. And so now they're taking instruction from someone that looks like them or someone that doesn't look like Esau. And then they become so challenged, okay, in that order, that now they know that they have an out. Whereas before, if you were given a bill of divorce, you took nothing with you. Okay? Now, from 1980 to 2000, the first was 30 years, the next 20 years. It went from 2% single parent households to now 25%. That means 1 out of every 4 families now is a single parent. 1/4 of children lived apart from married biological parents. Now let's look at 2020. Okay, another 20 years. See, this is an agenda that's being pushed through social media, through education, the earth being given into the hand of the wicked. It says approximately 40 to 45% or more, almost half of people come from single parent households. It says continued high rates of single parent households, especially among so-called Negro families. Okay. With Judah being the head of the tribes. Okay. That is the focal point of all the attention. Okay. You don't see Moab twerking. When's the last time you saw Elam twerking? You're not. They may do quote unquote ceremonial dances. But I saw something the other day. A nurse from Georgia, okay, was arrested for twerking on disabled patients. Eve, raised in a single parent household. So, let me see here. There may be one more thing. So essentially, it's just going to keep going up and up. So just wanted to bring out some things that obviously brothers know about, but yeah, our women are cooked. This is 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 1. Likewise, ye wives, be in subjection to your own husbands, that if any obey not the word, they also may, without the word, be won by the conversation of the wives. Okay. 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 5, for after this manner in the old time, the holy women also who trusted in Yahweh. See, and that's another thing that has corrupted the minds of women. Okay. Are these harlot houses. Okay. For after this manner in the old time, the holy women also who trusted in Yahweh adorned themselves, being in subjection to their own husband. Even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, whose daughters ye are, as long as ye do well and are not afraid with any amazement. So, hey, we all have a role and responsibility. Okay. And as the hopeful elect of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, our role, okay, is to serve Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Okay, with fear and trembling. That in itself is the whole duty of man. Fear Yahweh Shem Yahushai and keep the commandments. Okay, but likewise, women, you have a role. Okay, and your role is not to be independent. Okay, let's read this. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 8. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. See, that right there in itself gives you structure. Okay, it should give you a level of respect. That's why Sarah called Abraham Lord. When's the last time you heard any woman not look, this is top 10. Okay, women they're not created or cultured or cultivated to do any of that. You know, women will talk about this Proverbs 31 woman, but that ain't you. That's Sophia. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 9. Neither was the man created for the woman. Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man. And you can read this plain as day, and you can tell women this, but they're still going to buck up because they're under the vibration of Esau. This is now the new creation of Esau. Okay, scantily clad women. Okay, if you want to call them women. So, there's one more I wanted to go into. Oh yeah. Let's get the Proverbs real quick. This is obviously, you know, for women, you know, Akwath that want to read it. Read Proverbs 31. Okay, and then read Proverbs 31 and 3. Give not thy strength unto women. Okay, what does that mean? All the strength, all the wisdom, the knowledge, the providence, okay, that Yahweh Shem Yahushai has given the man, not for you. Okay, you can dwell here. Okay, but you are a help meet. You are not the focus. Yahweh Shemi Awashai, the Achim. Okay, the brothers. Okay, this word, that is the focus. Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings. Okay, there's plenty of parables of men speaking and talking and women ratting them out, and bed chambers and women knocking off crowns and just rebellious. That's not a help me. And women, Salakia, and men are now seeing that in women and just deciding to become passport bros or hey, hire, women for seasons. Okay? Because that's essentially what's now come about, because men see that the quote unquote judicial system doesn't serve them. And why would it? It's created by the damn devil. Okay? But this is Proverbs 31:10. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. The heart of her husband doeth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. Okay? She seeketh wool and flax and worketh willingly with her hands. She is like the merchant ships. She bringeth her food from afar. She riseth also while it is yet night, and giveth meat to her household and a portion to her maidens. See, all of this is going to be in the kingdom, man. It's just not possible here. Not in captivity. Not when this is not our rest. Not when this whole place is polluted. Okay? Scroll down here to verse 30. Proverbs 31:30. Favor is deceitful, and beauty is vain. But a woman that feareth the Lord, Yahweh Shemi Awashai, she shall be praised. Scripture says, if a woman were to learn anything, let her learn at home from her husband. Women shouldn't be going to these harlot houses. Man, my pastor. That ain't your pastor. Your husband is. Okay? So, like I said, just wanted to cover a couple things in the spirit. These videos really kind of go into just the challenge, okay, that is before not only, our people, but it shows you the judgment of Yahweh Shemi Awashai, okay? Because these women are not our allies. They're our enemies, okay? So let's play a little bit of this and then we'll wrap up.
Cooking, cleaning is something you have to do for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
What specifically did your mother teach you to do for the man in your life?
There wasn't something where she sat down and was like, Emerson, you do this and this.
Then you aren't raised to be a wife.
That's it. Because a single woman that's not married cannot teach her daughter, or really anyone, how to do something that she's not currently doing. And that's why it perpetuates. And then you have young women with no idea of what it means to be a wife. So going back to this scenario where at least some, Northern Kingdom women are at least raised to be wives. Whereas no Southern Kingdom, for the most part, have been raised to be wives.
A Spanish woman, they're raised to be a wife.
But why isn't a black woman raised that way?
Most black women are raised to be independent.
That's it. They're raised to be independent. And even if you look at the attire of Eve versus the attire of, look at this, man, come on, man, you can't make this up. You can't make this up. Look at what Eve is wearing. And then look at what a Northern Kingdom woman is wearing. Okay, full t-shirt. Okay, full t-shirt, and then you got Eve. Okay, breast out. See, it shows it right there in real time, man. So yeah, no women, specifically so-called Negro women, have an idea, okay, of what it means to, one, be a wife, but then number two, how to effectively become a wife. Okay, because all of that has to be developed from a youth. Okay, to where it's a part of your DNA, part of your makeup. You don't go to social media to find out how to be wives.
Okay.
But I saw her be a wife.
Yeah, exactly. I saw her be a wife. So
you can watch somebody do kung fu. That doesn't matter.
Okay, so to you, what does it mean to be a wife?
These are questions you need to ask your mother. You need to go ask your mother, Mom, what does it mean to be a wife? What am I supposed to do for my husband? How am I supposed to do these things?
Okay.
I think he'll be a better person to ask than me. She's your mother. Mm-hmm. Does she have the knowledge? Mm-hmm. Then why didn't she transfer it to you? That's her number one duty.
Well, she says Emerson, like, I mean, when you're growing up, they say, don't wear provocative clothing.
She told you what not to do, but what did she tell you to do?
Well, you cook, you clean.
You have to do that for your survival.
You support them in their endeavors.
Yeah, no, that's a passive. That's basically give me instructions and I'll do. No, proactive. I asked you a question. Does she have the knowledge? You said yes. I asked you why didn't she transmit it to you if it's her number one job? The mother is the first teacher of the child and the transmitter of the culture. Why did your mother, who has the knowledge, not transfer it to you? No, I'm not talking.
See, once again, none of this is.
I don't know.
And that right there is an honest answer. But if those things haven't been done, then these statistics are going to continue regardless. Because once again, this is not our rest. So Lord will, this was edifying for the elect. And until next time, shalom.